predictions that continue to perpetuate this game of fear. But you go to Steve's website, and all I see is buy my stuff, invest in gold, and somebody that continues to perpetuate the New World Order kind of agenda. And we're just playing right into yet another person who uses fear to profit.
Yep.
And if he puts out a bunch of information that says, you know, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, everybody jumps on his website, checks it out, starts to, you know, see all the worry and fretting that he does, and they buy into it. Once again, opinion being controlled by somebody else. Everybody that's out there that's telling you the truth is going to say, you know what? You can believe what you want to believe, but here's what I know. Use your discernment. You decide what's really going on in the world. He doesn't do that. He tells people what to think and to be afraid. And, you know, back when we talked on the first radio show on Freedom Reigns, I said the disinfo was going to come out with a vengeance. And I think I was 100% right. I think you guys would agree.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And if I could answer one more thing, everybody that's saying why Drake doesn't come out with his real name, well, you need an example of why? Look at what happens. What's happened to me.
Let me correct this. Drake is using his real name.
Yeah.
That's what people don't. You know, they're assuming that it's an alias. Drake is his real name. Period.
Let me restate that. Why Drake isn't coming out with 100% of all of his personal information that makes him vulnerable to lawsuit attacks, attacks from, you know, disinfo agents, and people that would more than happy go after family, friends, and anybody else to shut him down. I mean, Dave can comment on this. He's been under constant attack since I've been on Wolf Spirit, and he's stood fast and held true, but it hasn't been easy. I respect Drake for maintaining some level of personal anonymity because it really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't change the message. And the message is what's important. Drake's last name? Not important. He's protecting his family, he's protecting his friends, and he's protecting his privacy. But he should have to do that. But everybody's seen what's happened to me and to Wolf Spirit Radio because my anonymity was corrupted, and the Don Shipleys of the world will come out with a vengeance and tear apart every piece of personal freedom that somebody has to shut them down. And that's unfortunate, the reality of what we're going through. So, you know, good job, Drake, for being able to focus on the message and not the sniping comments that are coming in from the outside that say, oh, well, you know, you're just, you know, you're not telling the truth because you can't even tell everybody who you are. Well, that's bogus. You can come out, you can tell the truth, and at the same time maintain the peace and privacy of your own personal life. That's my comments.
Thank you. Thank you. That really helps a lot. It really does. Okay, Dave, we had comments from the chat room.
Yes, we did. And Thomas, can you read them? Because I got 47,000 things going on here.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on your name, Drake. I think it's a cool name to have because it's an ancient word for dragon.
Yes, I was told that.
Yes, and you can find it right online. Put in Drake definition, and you'll find it. It's an ancient word for dragon. So I think it's cool you've got that name. Somebody's asking about David's report today about the Federal Reserves. Do you have any knowledge of that?
Yes, I do. I've also got the original documentation that's going to be outed shortly. So there's people wanted proof that as the proof becomes available and is able to be outed, I'll make sure that it gets out, believe me.
Okay. The next question is, does Drake know anyone who has filed a suit at common law successfully pursuant to the 7th Amendment?
A couple of them. It was minor cases, though. That's the problem. The problem also is that anybody who goes off on a tangent other than the basis of the problem is entertaining a distraction. I've tried to express this in simple terms by using the idea of not having a driver's license and that sort of thing. The only problem with that is that you get to go through this each and every time you run up against the problem. And even though you win, it takes 4 years. Now, I think it would be, in my personal opinion, of what I know of the law and what I know of the basis of things, it would be much easier, instead of having that same dandelion come up every year, to snatch it out by the roots. And this is the basis for what we are doing. We are changing the base premise of law, finance, and government back to the lawfulness that was originally intended in such a manner that it cannot be ignored. Now, David Wilcock has an article in his newsletter, also posted on the website, that deals exactly with this. I was allowed privilege to be in communication with certain people who actually are taking the actions. The whole of it is real. This is not a joke. The central banking system is now in big trouble. The big trouble that they're in is that they have been illegally using the monies of what are called collateral or global accounts, and all of the proceeds that they have garnered from that, to include any kind of profits, etc., now are being called on to be repaid. This will bankrupt the central banking private, and I'm going to make this perfectly clear, private corporate banking system. It doesn't have anything to do with the government. That is known as the central banking system. Not only here, but also worldwide. This is one of the objectives of the plan. So it's a matter of fact, and I will be putting documents out shortly.
Do you have any information, or can you comment on the arrest warrant that was issued by Vladimir Putin for the Rothschilds and Soros?
I noticed that they kind of took off in all directions when that was issued first in Russia. Then they got a criminal complaint issued by the World Criminal Court. Now, the problem with that is that the United States is not aligned with the International Court. Consequently, they can run around here free until we get to them. They are on a list, a different list, where charges will be preferred against them here in the United States, and hopefully that will take care of the remaining issue of their freedom and capability to cause problems. Now, something everybody needs to know, they're talking about elections and this and that, and oh boy, there's a problem with that. And that fact is that George Soros owns both the Democratic and Republican Party. If that'll give you any indication as to the corporate status of those two entities and what their intent and purpose is going to be, this will tell you that it doesn't matter which one of the witches that you decide is the lesser of the evils and put them into office, you're going to get the same result. One of the basics that's going to take place after this reset has settled down some are free and fully honest and absolutely transparent elections. There will not be any machines involved. You're going to have to learn to write. If you don't, you'll have someone who will accompany you as your signature. Who do you want to fill this office? You tell them, they write it down. You make your mark, just like they used to do in the Old West when a guy couldn't write. You make your mark, authenticating your vote. these paper ballots will then be counted by people who are so honest that and squeaky that it's difficult to be around them. It's almost painful. That sort of thing also should apply to people being put in office. So it's all changing, and everybody needs to be aware of what's really going on, and that's one small portion of it. The reason that Putin took such drastic action was that Soros had aligned enough financial control that he was going to take down or reduce the value of the Russian market and basically buy the country up. And somebody got wind of it, and consequently he was forced to leave rapidly, discreetly, along with a bunch of his people. And then even in the aftermath, if you look at that, this is not something that's in the paper a lot, but look at it in terms of Pravda, and you'll find that there were also several arrests that took place of the people that were helping him. So the house cleaning is going on everywhere. This is not just one place, but all over.
Okay. A two-part question here. Is it true that birth certificates are bonded and held privately? And how will the new republic be different?
Okay, yes, it's true. They are a surety bond, and the difference will be that you become a living person, and a fictitious straw man, or whatever you want to call it, entity will be done away with, basically. So that's going to be a tremendous difference. You will no longer have a dual entity where you have you are as such an issuance of stock for value that should accrue through your lifetime, which is what the birth certificate does to you.
Through the Social Security Administration. Yep.
Well, you have to remember something about Social Security, and I'm going to wade into that a little bit simply because I did some checking. Social Security and benefits for people who are truly disabled and or retired military are supposed to be continued. Now, this goes into the finance portion of this plan. At present, there are sufficient funds available to pay the national debt some 5 or so times over. Now, that's the $27 trillion everybody talks about, give or take. The true debt is only $1.4 trillion. So now you're understanding, just on those numbers, some of the fraudulence involved in what's going on. Most of the national debts and indebtedness of people are based on fraudulent means on a legal basis of taking double. Now, by that I mean you buy a house for X amount, and then you get to pay 3 times its value over a period of years. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is that you, the individual, are the originator of the credit. You are your own creditor. This is how Iceland was able to do away with mortgages. So exactly. Now people understand it a little better. It's fairly simple, but you got to get the understanding out there.
There's another question, Drake. It says, are Drake's goals related to Benjamin Fulford's goals, or are they separate east-west plans?
Okay, first of all, I'm not going to denigrate Benjamin Fulford. He's done an excellent job of getting some things out. Of late, he has accidentally, by not doing his due diligence the way he should have, stumbled across supposed representatives of certain of these global accounts whom he was trying to work deals with. The only problem with that is that these people did not have the authority to access or use any of the value of anything they were talking about. In other words, he was set up and did not see it coming because he didn't do his due diligence. Other things are taking place. I think Ben will get his goodies back on track and still be a major player. No, the people he was dealing with recently were not authorized nor given legal authority to do any of the things they were promising. So now you got an idea as to how far the impersonations and reach of the bad guys can go.
The next question is, do you have any information on how this will affect Europe?